This episode of the podcast is brought to you by the UK's #1 coral selling website, prestigereef.co.uk and reefdork.etsy.com for all your 3D printed aquarium accessory needs. What's up, YouTube? What's up, Spotify? What's up, Prestige?
I said a minute ago to Alex that he seemed a bit like subdued, so he's obviously gone over the top with regards to the introduction. Probably to fuck me up.
I was planning on this because I know it just every time I go, what's up, YouTube? You just smirk and roll your eyes.
Yeah.
So I was like, right, let's ramp it up. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Prestige Reef Dork Show, episode 92. We're nearly at 100, right? We're talking about, so just the usual nonsense, basically. But the main topic is it's getting a bit hot in the UK. Well, I say hot.
Mildly warm for other countries.
But I noticed that people started saying, "Oh, how do you like?" You see posts on forums, Facebook, YouTube, everywhere, just saying, "Oh, what's the best way to cool your aquarium down?" So I thought, well, let's talk about it because now's a good time because it's been a little bit warm. My tank started to warm up. The fan came on the other day for the first time, but this is a good time because it's not going to get properly warm for a month or two, I'd guess. So this is a good time to get ready.
Sounds good.
Yours is all you can contribute to this is the aircon's on.
I turned the air conditioning on.
Yeah,
but I've got other ideas. I did all sorts of things like before I had the air conditioning unit. So
yeah, and I looked back at I did a video a few years ago on the Reef Dork Extra channel. And there's a couple of things that I've changed slightly. It's all the same basically, but I've made some tweaks to it, so it's worth updating. But I did think about doing a separate video on it, but
there'll be new people that haven't seen that video since then. I think we've done a live stream on it last year as well. I think we usually do a live stream around this time.
We're British at the end of the day, so we bloody love talking about the weather and queuing.
True.
It's just
True.
Love it. National sport, isn't it?
It's just ironic that the weather was hot for 3 days, and now we're doing the live stream, and it's gone back to being cold again.
It was cold today. It was sunny, so it tricked me because I was like, "Oh, the sun's out. It must be hot," and it was cold, bastard. Yeah. Anyway, so we're going to talk about that, and we're going to talk about some other stuff. There's quite a lot of news today because it was Reeferpalooza. You can see Ryan's like, "Oh, yeah, already."
I watched Reeferpalooza, and I quite like some so these are like new inventions to some extent, so I can have an opinion on a new invention, whereas if you go, this is a new light, it has this power, I'm like, I have no input on that. I'm not going to change. Well, actually, to some extent, we'll discuss my lights. We'll discuss them.
Interesting. And yeah, there's some stuff that's worth talking about. But yeah, we'll come on to that. There's a really weird product that wasn't at Reeferpalooza. I can't work out what it's for. But there you go. That's what's that? Retention bait. So you got to stay watching now.
Oh. I thought that was the name of the product. I was like, that.
No,
I have no idea what that means.
I watched a video the other day, and he was like, "Clickbait so last year. It's all about retention bait now." I like that. So there you go. You can put in teasers, make it really exciting. You must watch to the end. And, anyway, what have you been up to?
So my week in reefing.
Yeah.
So I have more to talk about this week than previously. So the first thing is the water box has fish back in it. So I'm keeping this as my tank at the moment. I'm not filming it. I'm just enjoying it for what it is. Not all of the fish are back in it. So what I've done is not all of the fish will go back into it, I've decided.
Okay.
So when I put a load of fish in it, I thought it looked too busy. You can look at a tank and go, it looks too busy. When everything's and I just thought, I was sort of impulse buying the fish and to try and get them in as quickly as possible so I could start filling it with coral. And that wasn't how I've ever done a tank before. So normally you buy a fish and then a couple of weeks later you buy another fish and a couple of weeks later you buy another fish. So what I've decided to do, I'm putting one fish in at a time. There is a risk with regards to aggression doing it this way. But I just thought there's no point in like going the tank having nothing in it to all of a sudden having like 25 fish or whatever. So the only fish that absolutely 100% have made the cut are going in. So the king eye is in there at the moment. The the candy basslet is in there at the moment.
Yeah.
The hawkfish.
I don't think I've ever seen him. I still haven't seen him yet.
You've never seen the candy basslet?
I think I saw him hiding in a pipe in your quarantine.
You've not seen him in the tank
the lights
yet.
Are terrible on that. Yeah.
The scarlet hawkfish made the cut, and I bought a small, like a tank bred yellow tang. So originally I had a big yellow tang in there. I decided that I'd rather have small fish. So the big yellow tang is still in the quarantine tank, and that will get sold, or it'll either get sold or it might go in the coral farm. I'm quite sentimental with my fish.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet, but the small yellow tang got into the water box instead of the big yellow tang.
Okay.
So,
will you still be quarantining fish going forward? New fish?
I will definitely. So I have that big fish system. They won't be going into there. I've decided I'm going to go back to my original small quarantine tank and do them one at a time. And
treatment, copper and all that. Or?
I'm literally going to just see how they get. I'm going to put them in there and see if they die within the next 3 days. And if they don't die in 3 days, they haven't got like the major bad ones. Now I'm still going to observe them for a month, just to see how they get on. But I have never had so much
You're
trouble.
going to observe them for a month in the quarantine tank or in the Oh, really? So okay.
So I'll still keep them separate, and I'm going to treat if there is if something shows. I really, really believe that quarantining the fish with chemicals, although it seems like it's the right thing to do, and it can be the right thing for some people, I'm not sure it's the right thing for me. I think it gives you a weaker fish.
Yeah, same. I hate it. I absolutely hate it.
Because I've had it where you have a totally healthy fish, and it appears to be healthy, and you take it out of the copper, you put it into the thing, and then all of a sudden it stops eating. And this is like a normal, like it happened to the flame angel, didn't it?
Yeah.
Flame angels can be sensitive to copper, but it doesn't affect the flame angel while it's in the copper. It seems to be like a long time afterwards that it goes downhill. Or not a long time afterwards, but like
that. So my scarlet, I looked back at my quarantine diary the other day, and my scarlet hawkfish got through the copper, and I can't remember. I think it was like 2 weeks later it died.
Yeah,
and everything else was healthy as happy as Larry, basically.
Yeah, and that seems to be like a thing I've noticed.
Yeah.
And look, some people will hate me saying this because there's like two sides to this story. Some people are like full on like quarantine, absolute. You got a snail, it's going in the quarantine tank. You got a frag of hystrix, that's going in the quarantine tank. And some people are like, nah, you just go to the fish shop, you cut the bag open. Some people even pour the water from the bag into the from the fish shop into the tank. Really bad idea, because if they're using copper, I actually know someone that was doing this, and I'm like, you really need to stop doing this.
Yeah.
Because if a shop doesn't tell you they're using copper, you're pouring copper water in with your corals. So anyone that is doing that is like the bare minimum of things not to do. Don't
even with, so copper is probably the main reason not to do that. But even when I had white spot, I managed to transfer it from my tank downstairs to this tank with a small, like a 25 ml pot of food that I'd put water in from both tanks. So even without the copper, if there's parasites in that bag, you don't want them. I know there'll be parasites in the fish if they're in the bag, but just pour the water away.
I put a couple of nice corals in there. I got I'm not sure I'm pretty sure it's a rainbow lobophila. That's what it says on the invoice anyway. Which I sent a picture to you, and you're like, "Is it nice? I can't tell." And I'm like, "What is wrong with you? This is clearly a nice piece." So that's gone in there, and also I bought myself a relatively large Millipora colony. So
can I show the photo of the one you sent me?
Yeah, I know. People can never see on the camera. You can't see like the rainbow edge on it around like
exactly. That to me, I was like, it just looks meh.
But
I had to ask.
It's quite nice, but this is the problem. But remember I said about my lights? Now I have no doubt that my lights are fully capable of doing the most amazing things with blues and everything like that. Yeah, I just don't know how to get them to do it. I thought about speaking to Telegram, isn't he? Because he's the one who does the GHL like stuff.
Yeah.
Just to go, look, it'll probably take you 5 minutes to make a
Yeah, yeah.
template of this,
Yeah.
whereas it might take me hours and hours
Weeks, months.
to do this. Yeah.
I taught someone this weekend who's got a GHL light, and he was talking about how great it is and all this sort of stuff, and I was like, how'd you find the software? And it just like his soul died in front of my eyes. So
look, don't get me wrong, I like it in terms of
that's the thing. And with a light, it's just you don't care once you've got it set up, so it doesn't really matter. But
I like the corals are fine with it. They appear to grow like under it. I like that I like the white light on it. Now I've never had a Radion with white light, if you see. I've always run them at AB+, so they're not it's not particularly white light. But I love the fact that you can see the fish and they're under the white light and they're really crisp and like the right color for them. The problem is when you have a white light, the corals look rubbish. So all I want it to be white during the day, and then in the evening, probably from like 6 until 11 o'clock at night or whatever, maybe 10, or to have like the full blues on, to make all the corals glow, because I get best of both worlds. But I'm too nervous to change any of the settings in case I can't get them back. And I think Telegram helped me originally. I'm not very tech wise, like tech savvy, am I? For anything. So some people are fine with it. I'm just not particularly good with like software of any sort. So yeah, that's what I would like. But I was thinking today, I could just put 4 Radions over it. You know how like what I would normally have. Do you see what I mean?
This would make my life easy, just
But yeah, and I like the fact that you can easily change the template. So you can, if you come over in the coral farm, I can go look how this looks under the blue light.
Buff white.
So whereas there might be a possibility you can do it with the GHL lights. I'm just too nervous to change anything, because if it goes wrong, it can go really wrong.
To be fair, it's not just GHL. The Kessel, whenever I play with this tank, if I'm the tank behind me, the Cade, if I'm taking photos or videos and I want it to be blue, I set the AI blades to blue, because Mobius is really easy. The Kessel, again, I'm sure you can do it. I just don't like the app, and I find it for setting it up, no problem, love it. Once you've done that, I forget everything, and it's difficult to use, so I never bother changing the Kessel. Whereas the Red Sea one, the blades, those I do. And actually, I had a Reef Breeders ITC Evergrow before, and that was the same. It was you had a physical controller, so changing it to blue was it was awful.
But yeah, it's so going back quickly, just with regards to the water box, I love it again. I never realized how much I miss having a tank in the house. I went from, so I would normally have toast for breakfast and then sit on the sofa and watch the news or whatever in the morning.
Okay.
Whereas now I have my toast and I sit and watch the tank in the morning, and I didn't realize how much I missed doing that until I had it back. And even when there was only like 2 fish in there, which was just like the king eye and one other fish, I was like, this is like, it's relaxing. It's like you can really enjoy it.
Is that with the lights off, or do you have them on early?
No, they come on at 8 in the morning. So
wow.
But they go off. They don't go off at 11 o'clock at night. They come on at 8, and then I think they go off at 9. So it's like a 13-hour day. I wish that I would change that. That's what I would like to change. This the timing on it. I can't remember what I was going to say now, but it was So basically, I didn't realize how much I've missed having it. What I'm going to do, I am not going to film it. I've decided. This is like for the moment. This is my tank, if you see what I mean. Because when you're filming something, you do things so that you have content. Whereas I've not had content for 2 months. I don't care. Like I'd rather have this as my tank and get it to. And when I'm ready to show you, you'll see it. It will go from being obviously the last video to being like a full reef probably. I'm happy with this now. You can see it, but until then, I don't want to get into the thing of going, oh, I'm buying a fish so I can do a video of that fish, or I'm putting corals in so I can. Do you see what I mean? Then it becomes not my tank; it becomes the tank that I'm doing for other people. Yeah. So that's the water box update for you. The other next thing I would talk to you about is that. So obviously, remember I said I was doing like an experiment with regards to eBay. So there was originally it started as an experiment, and I kept doing it for a period of time. So in the end, I did 5 out of 6 weeks. It worked well. I'll be honest with you. It was there's something about eBay where people buy like it's almost like impulse buying, I think. So I would put up 100 corals, and every single week, all 100 of those would sell. Pretty much. There was a couple that didn't sell, mate. So maybe like 97 would sell. So it worked. So I did exactly the same thing this week. 100 corals went up on Tuesday. On Wednesday, 100 corals got taken down.
Yeah.
Now, previously, I've had 1 or 2 corals taken down. This time, they were all taken down. So I thought to myself, right, I'm going to call eBay. Like, I've just spent 3 hours uploading these on a Tuesday night, and on Wednesday morning, you removed all of them. So I'm like, by this point, I'm mad, if I'm honest.
Yeah, I bet, yeah.
So I called them up. I said, look, what is your rules regarding this? And they said, no, you are not allowed to sell live animals on there. That is our policy. And I went, no problem. This letter, this email that went out to everyone, I literally read it to the guy on the phone. And he went, oh, I'm not aware of that email. So he then went away and spoke to his boss, and he went, that email should never have come to you. That email only went to the Americans.
Oh, that actually went to you, did it?
No, so it never came to me.
I was going to say, I just thought you saw it, which is,
We obviously, people in England saw what Reef Builders or what a few other people, and then assumed that was the policy, but it wasn't the policy. And what they basically said in America, they have different... the reason they've done it is because of regulation from the government, apparently. I'm not sure what regulation that is, but that's what the guy told me. And he said they have different regulations in America, which is why they changed it, supposedly. I'm not sure if that's true, because why would you cancel it in America?
Exactly, yeah. That's the only thing that doesn't make sense. It makes sense that because stuff's more heavily regulated over here than anything goes in America, doesn't it? Basically, to a degree. But, so that kind of makes sense. But it's weird that they would undo it and then do it and then undo it. But anyway, whatever.
Yeah. I just wonder if some of the people over there went like mental. And so I then said to them, well, look, okay, so you've taken 100 of my corals down. If you go on eBay right now, there's loads of corals on there. And he went, I'll be honest with you, like, it's not just corals. It's bees, worms, fish, goldfish, insects, everything. There are thousands and thousands of people selling thousands and thousands of things on there. And the only reason they're still there is because we've not got round to removing them. So they seem to be removing them manually, which seems like insane to me for such a big company.
That's just crazy. But this is like we were saying before that you never underestimate how stupid big companies can be. Sometimes you think they're really organized and all that, but sometimes they're just terrible. The one thing that makes me laugh, with this is there are a load of sponsored ones. So they're literally getting paid.
I know,
to put these listings up, and they're not. So not only are they not taking them down, but they're getting paid. As far as I'm concerned, the longer these stay out, the better.
Yeah. See, I could put one up today, and the chances are it would still be there.
Yeah.
But it's like
if you spend 3 hours doing it and it comes down.
Yeah, so that's because I looked today because it almost feels like unfair for me now because I'm like, how come they can be up there but I can't? It's almost like they're taking money out of my wallet because it's like stopping me from doing it. Yeah. So, sorry.
There's under aquarium corals and live rocks. You'd think they just delete the categories as well.
I know.
There's under aquarium corals and live rocks results 2,841. I didn't make a note of how many results there were last time we've looked at this, but I feel like that's low.
Oh, it has. So if you typed in goldfish, originally there were thousands and thousands, and now there's there's lots of different things. There could be a goldfish T-shirt, for example.
48 results for goldfish.
So you see what I mean? They've come down they are cracking down on it.
And they're probably starting with the things that there's millions of, like freshwater and lizards and snakes or whatever. I don't know. Yeah.
So they're basically getting around to everyone, and eventually, like, obviously people are still uploading stuff at the moment, so they then have to recatch those people. So eventually everyone will learn that it's not worth it because they're going to get caught. And the less people that are doing it, the less people they have to catch. So you're more likely to get caught, basically. I spoke to him for quite a long time. He even said that some people are they try to trick the algorithm, but we know what they're doing. He said that eBay actually have there's something that you can do on eBay where you can send your credentials to them. So there must be some products which are like you're not allowed to sell. I don't. But he
so
basically
you could send
said
them
about,
your pet shop license or whatever.
he said, look, you can try sending your pet shop license. I don't think it's going to make a difference, but you can do it if you want to. And I didn't do it in the end because I just said it's not going to make a difference. If you have a policy that's blanket for everyone, just because I sent you a piece of paper saying I'm allowed to sell it,
This guy's got a certificate.
And you don't even need to have a pet shop license to sell coral, so it's almost irrelevant. So those days are over. I was not even joking. It mentally like affected me for about 2 days, and where I was quite annoyed and like sad because it was quite fun to do. Like the live stream would end and I'd have 100 orders. It was brilliant. But the orders were for less money, but they were like the average order value was higher, which I found really interesting. So what I decided to do, and I only did this today, I have added a what you see is what you get section to the website. And I have put the corals on there for similar prices. So they're much cheaper than they are on my website. And I put them for similar prices to what they were on eBay. And they're limited. So basically, once that coral's gone, like the other ones on the website are not going to come down to that price. That's it. Yeah. But the mentality of an auction gets people to buy stuff. I've had hardly any sales in comparison to selling on there.
And people go on eBay all the time, don't they? Like I find myself sometimes like just when I'm just bored, I'll go on the internet. I'll be like, "What's on eBay?" Whereas that you might have 1 million people who do that. You might have 10 people who do that with your website. No offense.
No, I thought people would be like, well, if they're because some of them are literally like £11 or something, which is what they were going for on eBay. So when you can buy a zoophrag that's covered with like 20 polyps on it for £11 or whatever, that's cheap. So I thought it would have that same mentality. But what was actually happening on eBay, I realized people were winning one coral and they're like, right, I've spent £15. I need to make this worthwhile. I need to win all the corals because sometimes it was one person winning 20 items.
Oh, wow. Okay.
So the average, so I wasn't shipping out 100 individual orders. I was shipping out like 20 orders with one person buying multiple. So, and the reason it works is because the average order value, I have to put the same amount of effort in if I send a box with 1 coral in it or if I send a box with 20 corals in it. Do you see what I mean? I still have to go to the post office. I still have to put it in a box. So the value of that at that time is the same. So the more coral you can get into a box, the better, I worked out. So I thought I'd try it with the what you see, what is what you get section. It's a little bit more effort for me, but if it works, then it works. And we'll see.
So there is now a WYSIWYG section on your website.
Yeah. But what will happen going forward is I'm sort of, if I've got too much of a coral, I don't okay. Here's an example. Let's say it's jack-o'-lantern leptoceras. So jack-o'-lantern leptoceras has sort of an industry price, doesn't it? I would say. I'm not sure what it is, but if you Google it, it'll be roughly the same price. Yeah. Now, let's say that price is £20. If I have 30 pieces of it because I can't sell it quickly enough for that pound, I might put 3 of them up for £11, so that some people will get a bargain, and then once those 3 are gone, the rest of them are £20 because I don't need to get rid of them anymore because I've got less of them. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
Because having a coral farm, the biggest thing the issue is space. If something grows too fast, you need to get rid of it as quickly as possible so that it doesn't start encroaching on other corals. So yeah, that is sort of my week in reefing. The only other thing I'd like to request, and I do this occasionally, is so I am starting a project with something. Actually, one of the things I want to do, I want to slightly change my logo. Now, I am not a graphic designer. It could probably take a graphic designer like 30 seconds to do. But if anyone works in graphic design, I am working on a secret project. Let's put it that way. Secret project. Would you agree? A secret?
A prestigious project.
A prestigious project, yes. So I'm working on something at the moment. There's actually like 3 or 4 different things. But if you do graphic design, I could need your help. So, it's great.
Are you talking about the Prestige Reef bit or the little Pablo YouTube logo avatar?
No, I'm talking about the Prestige Reef bit.
Yeah.
So, like with regards to one of the things I want to change, literally, is to do. I tried to change part of it, and I can change it, but I can't put the dots back in back into the logo. So I want to keep that because it's sort of like that part.
It's your brand, yeah.
So I literally need someone to just go, right, we'll put 3 dots in the E's. That's it. That's part of it. But there's some other bits as well. But
it's funny. There's so on my logo as well. If you like when you just glance at it, you just wouldn't notice anything. But when you zoom in, you can see that there's some pixels in places that I don't want pixels.
Yeah.
And I want to change that. And I tried doing it myself, but I'm not good enough, it turns out. So I'd like to get someone to do it, because if I ever, like on the logo, it's fine, doesn't matter. But if I ever made like a t-shirt or printed a logo on it, it wouldn't look right because you blow it up. But I just don't know how to do it.
There you go. If you're a graphic designer, you're in popular demand, because both Alex and I need your help. And I'm sure we can sort some corals or whatever out. So, like, because that's usually what people want when they want something from me. Like, if I want something from them, a lot of the coral farm was actually paid for with coral. Because the people that did the flooring and stuff like that was like, don't worry, like, we'll just sort it out with coral later. And I'm like, all right.
Okay. What can I give them? I give you some head moisturizing tips. That's what,
I'm not sure how that comes across. let's move on. but yeah, so that's what's great about this community. Usually, if I go, look, I'm a bit stuck with something, I need some help, someone will email me. And last week, actually, I said I'm looking to change the website, which is being worked on. You can't see it; it's in the background, and I want people's input on what they don't like about my website. And I had a load of people come to me and go, look, I'll be honest with you, your website would be better if you did this, and this. Yeah. They were all the same things. It was really interesting. Can you
share what they were?
Yeah. Like, so my website's done through Shopify, and I'm not good enough to be able to, even something as simple as just adding a drop down. You know, when you like go over, say home, SPS corals, LPS. So if you hover over SPS, it then drops down that says Acropora, Millipora, Montipora. It doesn't do that. So whereas like modern websites, if you go onto other websites, they do that, you know, where you just it drops down, it gives you a better category. It's about ease of browsing. If someone wants a Montipora, they have to look through all of the other SPS corals when all they want is like,
and if they're a beginner, they have to know what a Montipora looks like compared to a stylo or whatever, you know.
Yeah. So now I tried to do that previously, like, and it turns out the template that I used, which obviously I picked not knowing, I was like, that template looks all right when I first started. The template, I've just had a text message, probably someone saying I'm a graphic designer. So just so you know, yep, it is. It says, sorry to interrupt the stream, just so you know, I can sort your logo out. So, but yes. What was I going to say? See, this is why I don't interrupt the stream.
Your template.
Yes. It's not possible. I spoke to someone with Shopify and they said it isn't possible to do it with this one. So I have to
have to start from scratch.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. Which is what's being done. Now, how long it's going to take, I don't know. Because websites, a proper website takes a while to like do all the coding and stuff. But just thank you for your input, and I'm working on it is what I wanted to say. Oh, he's just walking off.
I'm just opening my window.
Oh. Yeah. So that is it. So
well, before we get into what I've been up to, Loudon 96 L96 squad has a question. He says he's currently he's expecting a Red Sea Reef S1000, which is the bigger version of my tank. However, I'm trying to make it as user friendly as possible. I'm getting a lot of suggestions on UV sterilizers and other advanced equipment. Is it possible to discuss advantages of calcium reactors, UV stuff, and more advanced tech? If this is your first tank, which it sounds like it might be, don't bother with anything advanced at all. Just keep it as simple as possible. I can see why you might want a UV sterilizer. I've made a review of the Deltec UV sterilizer. It's brilliant. Go and have a look at that. Not sponsored. Bought it with my own money, all that nonsense. But I would just keep it as simple as possible. Don't bother with calcium reactors, with aquarium controllers. You can come on to that. They've got advantages, but just keep it simple to start with. Don't overcomplicate it. You want a skimmer. That's about it. I think, to be honest with you. Just keep it as simple as possible.
Let's put it this way. I run the coral farm, which obviously has thousands of corals in it. I don't have a calcium reactor on there, although I do have a dosing pump. And I don't have a UV sterilizer on there either. So if I don't need a UV sterilizer, trust me, you don't need one.
Yeah. But yeah, just try to keep it, as a general rule, just try to keep it simple. I read it, so the K tank, it's not that simple. But the only filtration is a filter roller. That's it, nothing else.
Yeah.
And I had on the Fluval Evo, before I broke it down, I had no filtration whatsoever. So I just did water changes. That's it. And it looked at its best when I had it running that way. So
one of my customers has an amazing tank like that, where that's all he does. Yeah. And it's bigger than your Cade. I can't remember how big it is, but it's big, and all he does is water changes. I don't know how he gets away with it.
But BRS Ryan always talks about their tank they did with all they did with automatic water change, but all they did was 10% a week or 15% a week. Or whatever. Yeah. That was it, and it looked amazing.
Yeah.
So, anyway, what have I been up to? You just talking about fish? Actually, I've just added this in. I'm so fed up with not buying fish because I'm being picky with corals. Like in the past, every time I go into shop, I'll buy a coral more or less. Now, because I'm picky, I want it to be really nice, and even if it's just nice, I'll just move on and wait. So because of that, I ordinarily normal person would go and buy fish. I can't buy fish.
Yeah.
Because still haven't worked out what I'm doing with quarantine. But now I've got this the TMC first wave tank I'm setting up, and when I finish with that, that's potentially going to be my quarantine tank. I'm gonna when I set that tank up, for the video I'll have 2 clownfish in it, and those clownfish I'm going to keep for myself. I'm going to buy them, keep them, treat them for Brooke, because I think I had Brooke in the last one, and then I might just observe, same as you with the fish. But once I've got that, I'll be able to buy it. I hate not buying fish at the moment. It's because I've not bought a new fish for ages, and it's boring.
Yeah, so. I just think so. I did a video on Christian's tank. Christian's tank was the one with all the angelfish, the full reef tank that was 5 meters long. That's how he observes the fish, treats if required, and if not, they go into the main tank. So it's not like it's a terrible idea. So that I agree. I think that's probably the best way to move forward.
I might even end up plop and drop, but we'll see. I've not made my mind up yet. That's
some people will never learn.
Yeah, but I have learned. It's just that I don't think that full-on quarantine is the answer. Anyway, let's not go down that route.
No.
I've been on my travels this week, Ryan. I've done the third tank tour.
Have you?
Yeah. So I did that this weekend. I went up to Oxford, which isn't too far, fortunately. And I'm going to show you the tank. I want to see. I don't think you've seen this, so I want to get your reaction. So bring it up. Let's see what his face does. What do you think?
It's definitely unique. I like it, actually.
Yeah.
I like it's. You don't see tanks that look different very often, and that looks different.
Exactly.
So the reason you were hesitant with regards to what I would think is because it's small, isn't it? So you're thinking, oh, that's just a small
Two
tank.
things. It's small and the light is very yellowy white. So most people like a bit of blue, and that's not really, this is very different. And and the corals look a bit more brown because of it. So I wasn't sure where you go. And you said about 10 minutes ago that you don't like the way corals look under white lights, but this is such a nice tank.
Yeah,
that it's just, I think for a start, it's really nice escaping all that sort of stuff. But those acans are so puffy and healthy.
Yeah, that's what stood out to me. Though it's like that's not the easiest tank to have at that size. Like as in those corals are not the easiest corals to have in a tank that size. I don't think. There's also because he's got sun coral in there, and all the gorgonians are all photosynthetic. If he's watching, I would like the one on the right. I think it's on my right, the chunky one.
Big one.
I'd love a piece of that. I've got the other two.
Funny. So there's a couple more as well that you haven't seen. So that was the one that in the video he said that's the one that everybody always says, "What's that?"
Yeah.
And can I have a frag?
Yeah.
So.
Pelagic Swimmer just said, "Is there fish in it?" And I thought the same.
There are fish. There's 7 fish in there, but there are the 2. I know, yeah. The 2 clownfish that are normally out, but they were just hiding. Actually, if I've just closed the photo down, but you can see one of his head. But they're all like quite secretive and reclusive fish. But when he fed, a few of them came out. So yeah, there are fish in there. But there's a full video coming next week, basically. So next week after. I've almost finished editing it already, actually. So it'll be up soon. And if you remember, it'll be up even sooner because it's going to be 2 weeks ahead, roughly, of schedule. So yeah, I've been out visiting tanks. One thing with that, so I said a while ago, like I want to make film tanks that are different. And that's what I mean by different. So that you don't really see tanks like that. And actually, funnily enough, a bass, the guy I did before, was quite similar, very yellow light.
Yeah.
So they're arguably not that different, but they're unusual compared to most reef tanks, and I like that. And the other thing I really liked about that tank is because it's white light, I didn't need, my camera could handle it really easily.
Yeah.
Even my crappy little vlogging camera didn't need a filter, didn't need white balance. It was just straight on, so it makes it easy. But it's I just like that tank.
I like that tank is clearly not a tank where they've tried to cram in as many corals of different types as possible. What they've done is they have specialized in acans or micromousas or whatever people want to call them. And they obviously 3 gorgonians. I did see a torch in the background, and there was a sun coral and things like that. But there's like the main features were the acans and the and the gorgonians.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like that. There was obviously thought has gone into it, if you see what I mean. A lot of tanks don't have thought in them. They're like, that'll do, that'll do.
This is so the last 2 tanks I've done in particular, that one and the one at Yorkshire Reefs, there's just something different about them. And when you talk to the person behind it, so the Yorkshire Reefs one in particular, their aquascape, I was like, this tank it looks amazing. Why is that? And she spent, I can't remember how long she spent, but it was days on end building that aquascape, whereas most people knock it together in half an hour and go, that'll do. So it's all this effort goes into it, and there's a reason they look so good. That sort of tank doesn't just come together. People think about it, and it's the same with this guy as well. But yeah, that's coming soon. Actually, let's do some YouTube admin. So the other week I said that Amazon have emailed everybody who's on their affiliate program to say, look, if you're an affiliate, if you use affiliate links that earn you a commission, you've got to make sure you're making it clear, and that you use hashtag ad or whatever. And I looked at mine after that, because I do in the description to the video, and I set this up years ago, I just say at the bottom, some of these links contain an affiliate code. That means I earn a small commission at no extra cost to you. So appreciate the support or whatever, basically. And that's fine. And actually, I prefer that to just hashtag ad, because what does that mean? So a bit more descriptive. But what I thought when I look back at it was that's actually at the bottom of all of these links. And I said some of them because I used to use loads of links, and now it's just pretty much all Amazon links. So I've changed it. So it says these links include an affiliate code, and I've put it above the Amazon links, so you can't miss it. So you scroll down, you see the little blurb, the disclaimer, and then you see the links. Aren't I a hero, Ryan?
You are a hero.
Thanks very much. That's what I needed to hear. Moving on, because that's really boring. Kalkwasser.
When you said moving on because that's really boring, you then went on to something more boring. Not more boring, equally boring.
Is not more boring. So I had on my Cade tank, I noticed that my Reef Elements Part 1 dosing isn't the bottle is full, and my Part 2 is half empty. So it stopped dosing at some point. And so I had a look on it. The dosing pump spins around, it's working fine, but it's not drawing any liquid through. And I spent about 15 minutes changing the head, seeing if that was what the problem was, changing the tubing in the dosing head, messing around with all of it. And I don't know what's going on, but it's not working. I got no idea why. I think I'll probably need to just throw the dosing head away and buy a new one. But anyway, for whatever reason, it stopped pulling through dosing liquids.
So have you tested it on a really, really short tube?
Yes. Go on, why?
The reason I say that is because whenever I've had it in the farm where one of the dosing pumps will stop, and what I do is I will cut off both ends of the tube, so it's just the pump itself, and put a cup underneath it, and then run it both forward to see if it draws it in, and backwards to see if it draws it in.
So the tube that I used was about 6 inches long, so not that short. But either way, I just got to the point after about 20 minutes of playing with it where I just thought, and I needed to get something set up. So I've got an Ecotech Versa in there as well. That's a Red Sea dosing pump. I've got an Ecotech Versa in there that I was using for magnesium. So I just thought, let's just put it in. So I just swapped that out, and now that's fixed. But I just thought, you know what? I have had issues with Reef Elements burning through tubes and this sort of stuff and going crusty in certain places before, which Kalkwasser does anyway. But I just thought, sod it, I'm going to change to Kalkwasser on the Cade. So I haven't actually done it yet, but I'm going to be going back to Kalkwasser on the Cade as of this week.
You're not happy unless you're changing something.
I know. I was thinking about that.
Whereas I don't like to change anything ever.
Yeah.
The funny thing was that a minute ago when you said the dosing tube was 6 inches, I had like forgotten that's like normal, because my dosing tubes are like 20 meters.
30 feet. Yeah, exactly.
Because they go up into the roof and then down, don't they? So
yeah.
And they go.
So actually, a standard, the dosing lines on my tank are about 2 feet long, something like that.
Yeah.
But I changed it out with the smaller ones. But yeah, they're not 20-30 meters long.
yeah. So.
But yeah, it's just annoying. And actually, funnily enough, I had the exact same thing or similar issue on my main tank. I went downstairs to check that, and the alkalinity bottle had stopped dosing as well. But this time it was because the tip had crusted up. So I just got rid of the crust and it started working again. But it's just annoying. But that's what I've been up to. Part 1 happens a lot with part 1 calcification happens a lot with part 1. Yeah, and this is diluted 50-50. So but I didn't used to get this with what's it called, with ATI Essentials Plus, and I moved away from ATI Essentials Plus because I liked the pH-ness of this Elements one, and I can get it in my local fish shop, whereas ATI Essentials was getting more and more difficult to get hold of, and there were fewer and fewer shops that sell it. And the place I used to get it from, Fastlight, that's closing down or selling up or whatever. Yeah. So I was like, let's just change to something that I can get hold of easily. But anyway,
that's interesting because Les has just put in even Ryan's special soup crusts up a little. See, I don't find that to be an issue. Like maybe after a long time, but I don't find I never check. Let's put it this way, I never check the tubes ever. And if it was happening on a regular basis, I'd be checking it every week, if you see what I mean.
Is your sodium bicarbonate?
Yes. Yeah.
Yes. So I think sodium carbonate does do that more. The ATI Essentials, I think, is sodium carbonate. And I used to have to dilute that 50-50 because if you don't, when it gets cold, it crystallizes, it goes solid. So, and even that got a bit crispy. Anything that's pH-y goes crispy.
Yeah.
And sodium bicarb doesn't tend to go crispy. But anyway, what are those guys' paintings in the background? Ryan, what are your paintings in the background?
Is this Liam? This must be your first time here. These have been here for 92 episodes, which is 92 2-hour episodes. So
and we did a couple more before we did the official Prestige Reef Dork.
Oh, did we? Oh yeah, we did. Yeah. I'm sure we would have missed. Oh no, you've only counted the things, not the weeks we missed. Yeah. So yeah, these are just the paint. For some reason, this was the place I sat for the very first live stream, and I've sat here ever since. So,
as Les puts it, boobies, Liam.
Yeah. So,
interesting.
It's funny because people find them so they don't mention them so much anymore, but people found them so controversial at the beginning. They're just a pencil drawing.
Yeah, but it's tits, isn't it?
Well, I find them they are artwork for me. So,
yeah, well, me too. Yeah, I love a bit of art. Andrew G says, is Ulva Reef crusted up after about 14 months? That's interesting because Ulva Reef is not pH-y at all. It's calcium formate, I think it is, which supposedly doesn't pH your tank. Is the scientific way of explaining. Anyway, Pussycat wants to see them in the flesh.
You can order them online if you want.
I've had enough difficulty getting Ryan to show his biceps. So
true.
Quote of the week. Yeah, but it's tits, isn't it?
There you go.
We'll move on. And now we're going to talk about.
This is what happens. People get distracted by them, and then the chat takes over.
What we're going to talk about before we talk about the heat is YouTube member questions. And one I answered, not realizing that it was a member question. It popped up in the app, and I just thought it was a comment on a video. This is from Mungo's Reef. Mungo Jerry. What's the general consensus regarding the thoughts on captive bred versus wild caught potential life expectancy? I saw a post recently claiming they still have a breeding pair of clowns purchased back in the 90s. Clownfish can live for 30 years anyway. But it got me thinking, 90s fish availability, most likely wild caught. Probably, but with clownfish, probably. That's pre-finding Nemo. Is there a different potential between the two sources? Significant, negligible? I accept there are anomalies. I've never seen anything. I've never seen people reporting on it, and I have no reason to at this stage. So with like tropical fish, they've been breeding them for years and years and years. So I think there might be issues with them. Don't know, freshwater, who knows? But I've never seen or heard anyone talk about shorter life expectancies for captive or wild caught.
I don't know about shorter life expectancies. There are definitely differences with tank bred fish. Some of them are good. So fish that are normally really, really difficult to get feeding by captive bred ones, they're eating day one. Whereas the perfect example is a golden angel. A golden angel from the ocean is almost never going to eat, and a golden angel that's captive bred will eat straight away.
Yeah.
So there's quite a lot more expensive. The cost of a golden angel is quite a lot more expensive for a captive bred one. But trust me, it's worth every penny, because you could go through 3 or 4 wild ones before you could get one that will survive. So that's good. There are some genetic defects, especially in clownfish, because they've been inbred. Not such a good one. And like even with the yellow tangs at first, I'm not sure. The diet they were getting, I think, was affecting their growth, and they were getting these weird, like stunted looks. But they've solved that now.
Right.
So yeah, the original tank bred yellow tangs were nowhere near the quality that they are now, and it seems to happen with the first batch of all new tank bred fish. I've noticed you get some like weird runt ones, but yeah, people say that the yellow tangs aren't as yellow anymore. I don't know how true that is. Like, I don't remember if you put 2 yellow tangs next to me, I'm not sure I could tell the difference.
Yeah, memories fade more than colors in fish.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So there are pros and cons to both. The answer to that question
is the member question about captive bred? If so, are they less prone to disease? I don't know. I mean, they're less likely to have parasites.
It depends. If they're kept separate from obviously the wild fish, then in theory the parasites can't come from nowhere. But it's like you'd have to have really, really strict quarantine for that to happen.
I think they probably do, but then so that's a good thing, because then you're getting a fish with no parasites. But if you put it into a tank that does have parasites,
it's got no immunity.
Exactly. Suddenly it's exactly. So, but I've never seen studies about that, and I've never seen even anecdotal proper hobbyist type comparisons. But if you're trying to work out whether you should buy captive bred, or I think you're just curious, if you're trying to work out which you should buy, I wouldn't have an issue buying either personally.
No, me either. But let's put it this way. I've definitely seen tank bred clownfish that have Brucknella. So it's not like they can't get it.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah. Interesting question though. My clownfish, one of them died just for no apparent reason after 5-6 years, and a clownfish shouldn't die after 5-6 years.
No.
And that was captive bred, was designer clownfish. So
that's
more likely that they've been inbred, I suppose. But who knows? And pelagic swimmer says no exposure to disease or parasites isn't a good thing. So there you go. Next question is from Tomo Bishbosh, who says, my Midas Blenny has decided that his favourite place to sit in my tank is right up at the surface of the water against the rear weir grate, which is very frustrating. He's quite jittery and has been in the tank around 2 weeks now, but refuses to move anywhere else in the tank or even swim around the water column. Is there anything I can do, or is this just life now? It's a little bit unusual with a Midas Blenny. Clownfish do that all the time, but he's probably just a bit stressed out. So that's not usual behaviour for a Midas Blenny. They're a lot more out and about swimmy than most Blennies, but they still usually spend at least 50% of their time in caves and stuff, or 20%. So I would guess he'll find his place. But I don't know if you've got no holes in your rock work or a fish that's stressing him out or something.
That was what came to my mind. Sometimes if a fish is not coming out, and it especially happens with fairy wrasse, you'll have a fairy wrasse, and it'll be a swim around the first day, and then all of a sudden you never see it again. And after like 2 weeks, you see this like really, really skinny fish like in a cave, and you realize that one of the other fish is keeping it in there. So there's a possibility every time it goes near the rockwork, something might be chasing it or something.
Yeah.
He's alone in the tank.
Oh, he's alone. Okay.
So
rockwork is holy.
That in itself also, fish feel comfortable with other fish. So all of a sudden, remember, he's in the ocean before and there's fish everywhere. He's now like, is it just me? Imagine if it was you. Imagine if you all of a sudden you woke up one day and there was no one around anywhere.
Have you I know you won't have seen because it's a film. Have you seen 28 Days Later?
That's the zombie. I haven't seen it. That's the zombie one, isn't it? Yeah, I've not seen it.
But he wakes up in a hospital and like the zombie apocalypse has happened. He's walking around London. He's like, there's no one here. What the hell? That's what it's like. Yeah. And he wasn't acting normal. So yeah. My AH says, my Midas Blenny hides out in the tank in my old retired outlet. Oh, right. That I left in my tank after I retired my old canister filter. Okay. There you go. So
I had one that would sit in the return pipe. So I had a return pipe and it would sit in the return with the water flowing out of it. I'm like, this can't be comfortable for you.
So I had actually, when I quarantined the 2 tail spot blenny, whatever it was, can't remember what it was, the tiny one, Pictus blenny.
Yeah.
When I quarantined the Pictus blenny, he started doing it. It was in a filter, like an in-tank filter.
Yeah.
And I was like, how's he gripping onto that? And then I realized that I'd forgotten to turn the filter on. But he did the same. He found his little hole and he was happy. Yeah. And then I turned the filter on and he was like, oh, for God's sake. So, but there you go. Those are the member questions. Do you like how I remembered the member questions?
I did notice this time.
I've also remembered the Prestige Reef Fish of the Week.
Okay. The Fish of the Week. Oh, there's no jingle. I was like, is there a jingle for this? No. The Fish of the Week this week I'm going for is a pink tail triggerfish. So I can't think of another fish that has that pink coloration. Can you think of another? Pink. But it's not like vibrant. It's not like luminous pink.
Like fluorescent. Okay.
It's like actual pink. So
there are similarities.
They're an acquired taste. They're not for every tank, but I actually quite like triggerfish because I find them interesting. I feel like the way they swim is enough to counteract the fact that they're not overly attractive.
I feel that way about Aptasia eating filefish. I think they're really cool, even though they're bland.
Yeah.
And triggerfish are the same. It's just the cool ones are massively aggressive and will eat anything: fish, coral, snakes, snails.
The other cool thing about this is they're supposedly reef safe.
I think future live stream guest Aaron's Aquarium had a pair of these. Or were they crosshatch triggers? Maybe they were crosshatch triggers. Okay.
But yeah, they obviously they're not going to be safe with shrimp or like ornament, like sexy shrimp and stuff like that.
No.
But they won't touch your corals. Triggers can be a little bit aggressive, so they're an acquired taste. But I like people that have an acquired taste because then their tank looks different to other people's. I love a reef tank that's got eel in it. I don't know why. Would I do it myself? Yeah. Absolutely not. But if someone else has one, I'm like, that is cool.
Well, if it weren't for people having an acquired taste, you'd still be single.
I knew. I was actually going to make that joke myself. Yeah. I literally made that joke myself, and I was like, no, I'm not gonna, scrape the bottom of the barrel with.
I left it today. I was sitting there. You kept talking. I was like, shut up! I want to come on. So, let me in.
It was a bit slow, on the delivery, but I'll let you have that one.
Timing is everything. Yes. What's the Prestige Reef Coral of the week?
I was going to think of another one because you said I might have done this one before, but I've just kept it the same. I'm going for a bicolor Galaxia because I actually quite like them. They look like miniature torch corals. Like when I say miniature, I'm like really like the little polyps on them look like miniature torch corals.
I tried to find it on your website, but I couldn't. And
I've got a bicolor Galaxia on there. It'll be in the LPS section.
I still couldn't find it. Here we go.
There it is. My picture's there. That's my picture. Yeah. So the reason it's bicolor is you can see that half the polyps are green and half the polyps are purple. And why are you having that face?
That's horrible.
They're not horrible. People love that coral.
$34.
Why is it dollars? Why on your website is in dollars? It's not. We tested this earlier. Alex used a different what's it called?
Browser. Yeah,
different browser, and it's not in dollars. There's something about Alex's thing which puts it in dollars.
It's very strange. But whenever I check on my phone, and actually just so it's not completely weird, Amazon is all in pound sterling. I don't know why it's showing me barbecue stuff. But on my phone, anyway, whatever. Who cares? Bicolor. Yeah, okay.
I need to deal with that. That's becoming more and more of a thing where people are saying I have it in dollars. I might actually put a thing at the top of the saying, if this is in dollars, try it in a different browser.
Yeah, okay. Because I tried an Edge browser before the stream and it worked.
It's because that will be costing me money. People want to order stuff and they're going, well, why is this in dollars? So that's not good. But anyway, sorry, I'll let you continue.
So in the chat, just a quick straw poll, or maybe actually, in fact, I'll do a YouTube straw poll. Start a poll.
My website's going to light up now, isn't it? With everyone going to log on to it.
You like the bicolor Galaxy.
Oh, I thought you were gonna ask people if they can see dollars on my website.
Nah, I don't care about that. Because I'm interested to see, because if it's, I don't know, I'm interested to see what people say. 6 votes, 100% yes. 1 vote, hang on, 10 votes, 70%. We'll leave it.
For what?
For yes. Do they like it? Yeah. Most people like it early on.
I know people do like it, and if you see it in person on the farm, it really glows.
I can't remember seeing it in person, to be fair.
There's a massive, unbelievable downside to it, though. It has sweet potato.
Yeah.
And they are long. It's not like an inch; they're like 5 inches. So So the way I have them is you have to have it. So put them in an area where your flow is pushing the tentacles away from everything else. Because if it's allowed to do whatever it wants, it will take like a 6-inch space circle around the entire coral, which obviously doesn't look great because you can't have anything there. Whereas if you have flow on it, it pushes it away and then it's fine.
Yeah. Okay. There we go. Well, 73% of people. I'm just going to end the poll now. 73% of people of 37, so not exactly a massive catchment sample size, do like the bicolor galaxy. So it's just me. Well, it's not just me.
You have a weird taste in coral, I think, because quite often you go, I don't like that, and you do a poll and they go, yeah, we like it.
I have a weird taste in everything, which is why you're my co-host.
Again, scraping the bottom of the barrel again.
Try the fish. Yeah, there we go. That is the Prestige Reef Fish of the Week and the Prestige Reef Coral of the Week, which means we're now on to the headline topic 57, which is how to deal with heat in an aquarium. Ryan, you just your farm is just on aircon, so you just turn the aircon up a bit, don't you? 1 degree or something.
Yeah.
Or down.
No, I literally it pretty much stays the same the whole year round. Like I just occasionally I will turn it off auto onto specifically for cooling if I know that there's going to be a problem. I thought there might be a problem with shipments last week, but because the problem with shipping the corals is it was too cold at night to send without a heat pack, but it was too warm in the day to send with a heat pack.
Yeah.
So I sent out probably like 40 boxes on one day. It was on 2 days. They were split 20 boxes each day, and I had to decide: do I put heat packs in these, or do I not put heat packs in these? And there's usually one day in the year where I get it wrong, and after that day happens, I then change that method and go back the other way. And I hope, but luckily this time I was right, and I did put the heat pack in because it was getting down to 8 degrees at night, so it was too cold.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's obviously about shipping. But with regards to the farm and the tank in the house, the aircon wasn't on, and they went up, I think, 0.5 degree, and I was like, okay, fine, it's time to turn it on to cooling.
What's the temperature in the farm? 24.
It's usually set to 24.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that more than the water temperature?
The water temperature is 25. The room temperature is 24. Air feels different. If the room temperature is 25 degrees, it's like sweltering in there.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah. Whereas it's funny because if you put your hand in the tank, it doesn't fit. It should feel nothing. If you think about it, if the temperature is the same, it should feel nothing, but there's definitely a difference.
There's some science going on there, but
yeah, the tanks are kept at 25 degrees. The air is kept at 24 degrees most of the time.
Yeah. So I have a heating controller, so you can see what I've done. So on the Cade, if you wind back to last week and look at the Cade, that fan that's below the light was not there. Yeah. So at this time of year, because it's ugly, so I just take it down. But I just put up a fan. All you need to do is blow a fan across the top of your tank. There are a few things you need to do before that. When it's proper hot, close your windows, close your blinds or your curtains, and keep the sun out.
Yeah.
and only open them in the evening when it gets cool, so 8-9 o'clock or whatever. And just the main thing is just have a fan blowing across the top of your tank. It doesn't really matter what fan it is. So on my main tank downstairs, I've got a Tunzi Aquawind 2, which was £100, very expensive. And on this one, I've got a $10.99 Amazon special PC fan that I've adapted.
Yeah, I remember I stacked a load of boxes on top of each other and put a desk fan.
I've done that 100%. Yeah.
The things that we do to keep our tanks going, like
that. Yeah, I did that that's another thing. You should, if it gets really hot, you should open the cabinet doors and ventilate the cabinet as well. And I've done that several times before with a fan pointing at the sump.
Yeah.
But the other thing I found really effective on my main tank, on my Red Sea tank, which I did on my previous Red Sea tank as well, was because the ventilation in those tanks is really poor. There's a tiny little gap, but that's it. Whereas on the Cade, you might even be able to see it actually. No, I can't open the door. Whereas on the Cade, there's the gap, the back is completely missing. So the ventilation's great. But if there's not much ventilation in your cabinet, put a little ventilation fan in there, an exhaust fan that blows. You can look at the first setup video I did of my current tank. And it's those little 10 quid PC fans, and it makes a huge difference. If you gave me the choice, I would do that over blowing air across the surface of the water.
Yeah. Do you know why it works, blowing the air across the top of the water?
I know that it causes evaporation.
Yeah, and the energy that I'm not 100% sure, but it is evaporative cooling. But basically, the energy of turning the water into I guess there's no facts here. Basically, energy that happens of that transfer releases heat, which is why it's happening. You're not cooling it in the same way. Like you're not cooling it like
you think just blowing on it and it makes you cool. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I looked that up before, and the science got pretty complicated pretty quickly. I'm quite a simple creature.
That's why I didn't try to explain it. So I didn't think that you would be able to, understand.
I can't. You're exactly right. And Diego Romero asked a question a minute ago. He said he wanted to know about refugiums. Can I use a hang-on back refugium with no protein skim on a 60-gallon cube? Yeah, you can. And do I need to dose if I'm running a Cheeto refugium? And then he followed up by saying he heard Cheeto sucks up trace elements. I'm wondering if I need to dose anything to replenish my tank. It does. I wouldn't bother, but you can get things. Brightwell does a product called Cheeto Grow. Or Keto Grow, that has got iron, manganese, and strontium, maybe some other trace elements, and that supposedly makes algae grow better. But it does suck up trace elements, but it doesn't necessarily mean you should replace them, especially if you're doing water changes. And a 60-gallon cube, you might be doing 20 or 30% water changes. But I would start without. I wouldn't dose to start with, and then maybe do an ICP test after 6 months or something.
The only thing that I will say about refugiums is that so Jamie Craigs, the person who runs the Horniman Museum, that he did a live stream, and he said that he was removing, I don't know if this is still the case, removing all the refugiums from the tanks that he looks after. Okay. And my theory was, if he's doing it, there's probably a reason.
I actually agree with him, but Jamie Craigs is not trying to achieve the same thing that I'm trying to achieve in a 2-foot tank. He's trying to propagate corals breed them in captivity. But the things that I don't like about refugiums.
No, these were the museum tanks. These weren't
the display tanks.
Yeah, these were the display tanks. And I think I can't remember exactly, but it was something along the lines that there are more downsides to having them than positives.
I think I agree. So the positives normally are that you get the pH growth of the pH boost associated with photosynthesis overnight, so it balances out your pH.
Yeah.
It's a place for copepods to grow, and that's what people normally say. Oh, well, if I get a refugium, that means I can get a mandarin, because then there'll be pods growing in my refugium. That's what most people do it for. It's what I did for. So those are the main benefits, and it helps reduce your nutrient scores. The cons, and this is the reason I don't run it anymore, is because it's way more effective at nitrates than phosphate. It does almost nothing for phosphate in my experience, no matter how you set it up. Some people have been able to do phosphates, but it's almost always canes your nitrates and doesn't do much for phosphates. It's messy because you have to harvest it and pull it out, and when you do that, it drips everywhere. It's all stringy. It just gets everywhere. sometimes it'll escape into your skimmer or your return pump and clog it up, which is really annoying. And then the skimmer doesn't work properly, so you've got to unclog it and all that sort of stuff. And it pulls out trace elements. So long term, you might start finding that you get your trace elements are deficient. So
it basically it competes with your corals.
Yeah, it does, exactly.
Yeah. So do you want to put some competition in there for your corals? It's up to you.
It's funny. I was thinking about doing I was thinking yesterday of doing a video about why refugiums fell out of fashion, because it's this hobby that in 10 years' time they'll be back again. But they got really popular, and now nobody uses them. So, or not nobody uses them, but this is a lot less popular. But so I wouldn't personally do it. But there you go. John Wright's corals are better since he took out his refugium. So there you go. Tejeshwar Nanjundea, sorry, I know I butchered your name. Tej, I'm going to call you. Says air conditioning or dedicated aquarium cooler. If you can air condition your room, pucker.
100% air conditioning, because the cost difference is not like a cooler. Is that what they're called?
A chiller. Oh, a chiller.
Yeah. A chiller is expensive. They're like £800, I think, aren't they, for a big one, for a big tank? Yeah. Whereas like an air conditioning unit, it varies, but they can be like 1,000, 1,200, and then it keeps you cool too. It's literally is a no-brainer.
Exactly. The downside of, and actually this is for any in the UK, if you can cool your room, that's better. We just don't have aircon as a rule because it gets hot for 3 days in the year. But if the downside of an air conditioning unit is that they're quite big, so they take up space and they hum. They go, and you've got to run the exhaust pipe out of your window somewhere, so they look a bit messy if it's a temporary install.
If it's a portable one, yes, but
which is what most people do. But if the choice is doing air conditioning or setting up a chiller, 100% aircon, no doubt about it.
There you go. Pelagius said tank chillers suck, air conditioning for the win.
There you go. Recently inherited a boat AC machine for my front room. Best thing in the world. A boat aircon. Sorry, I thought. Okay.
But why would you want a boat aircon in your living room?
I guess it's just it's an aircon that's just, it doesn't really matter if it's designed for boats or for houses. It's probably just a different form and cheaper or whatever.
Is so Reef the person that you filmed?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Look, get in touch. Send me a message on Instagram, because I will sort something out.
Ask for more than that, Chris. He really wants it. So
I don't want it that badly, and I do actually like that coral that he wants. So
I see. Okay.
But I'd be interested to talk to him as well. Is it? I'm assuming it's a photosynthetic one. You don't see them very often, but the non-colorful ones are usually photosynthetic. So
it is, and it's different because it looks like a branching toadstool almost. It's a lot fluffier and just completely different. But no AC in the UK. Add to the list of why Brits are strange. Superfluous apostrophe, by the way, which is another reason Brits are strange, because we're pedantic. What else? Yeah, speaking of cleaning skimmer, I did that thing Alex does, use my finger, and the thick sludge was awful. I did not smell it though. Yes, you did. Shut up. It's not possible to clean your skimmer without sniffing your finger. I don't believe you, Tom. You're lying. Right. Another reason Brits are strange.
There are other options with regards to cooling the tank in an emergency, aren't there?
What, like ice or?
I've literally, I was going to say, I once was putting bottles of RO water in the freezer, and you want RO water. And the reason you want RO water is because water expands when it turns into ice. And if you if you expand so much that the top comes off, but it's still stuck on, and then you put that in your tank, you're then leaking tap water into your tank.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So you want it to be RO water if you're going to do this. But it does work. It in a pinch, it does work. You have to keep redoing the bottles, so you need to have like 4 or 5 on the go. But in an emergency, it will work. But you have to prepare for that emergency in advance, if you see what I mean.
Bags of ice cubes if you haven't prepared for it in advance. Yeah, that's probably better with small tanks.
Yeah.
But the fan is the best thing to do. And if you don't, opening your cabinet always helps as well. So when it gets really hot in here, I open the cabinet doors because it takes the edge off a little bit. But yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Just fans and aircon.
Yep.
So, and if you're in a hot country, ask someone in a hot country, because I don't know. I'm not, but aircon I think is probably the answer for most people.
In places, I realized this before. In places like Australia, like they have an entirely different issue to us. Like their tanks are almost too warm all the time.
Yeah.
Do you see what, like, we have to have heaters, whereas their tanks are like, if you don't have aircon there, I'm not sure it's possible to have a tank. Like, obviously, if you had a chiller, maybe, but like, it's different people in different countries. This is what I learned from doing the consultations with people. Everyone has their own different problems, but also their own like positives as well. In Qatar, they don't pay for electricity, so it's like, imagine how great that would be.
Yeah.
Apparently, as long as you don't take the piss, is what I was told, you don't have to pay for it. I think if you're trying to like if you go crazy, then that you would.
Yeah, set up a commercial enterprise. So we occasionally get people from India in the chat and in the comment section anyway, and I think you can't get corals in India, but you can get saltwater fish, obviously. And I often see people who say, my tank's running at 28 degrees. How do I make it cooler?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, that's hot, because India's hotter than the UK.
Yeah.
Quite a lot hotter. So yeah, that must be a nightmare if you haven't got aircon.
Yeah.
But British summertime, open your cabinets, close your windows, close your curtains, put a fan. A cheap fan is fine. Someone asked earlier, yeah, you do need to connect it to the fan. You connect to a temperature controller, a heating controller. So you can get aquarium based heating controllers. You can get expensive ones from the likes of GHL, Neptune, and Reef Factory, or you can get a cheap one, which is what I have, from DD, or you can get a cheap one from Lux, not Luxbird, Lux Parwise. What's it called? Lux. Someone tell me in the chat. Lux something.
Yeah, like someone tell me in the chat. Ryan won't know.
Parlux, Heat Lux, can't remember. But the reason I don't like the Lux, whatever it is called, is because I got sent one of the first thing I ever got sent when I started this channel was a Luxbird Refugium light, and for the first 6 months it was amazing, and then it broke. And I was like, and then you couldn't get them. I tried to buy a replacement and you couldn't get them. So presumably they had issues. And I assume that it's the same company. It probably isn't. But they've actually got quite a good reputation. The heating controllers.
Inkbird Smart.
Inkbird, that's the one. Yeah, Luxbird was the thing I had, Inkbird. But the Inkbird heating controllers have got a really good reputation, to be fair. So I've never had one, but they're like 40 quid or something. So you don't need to get an expensive one.
The thing to pay attention to is your evaporation will go up significantly. So you need to make sure you keep on top of your RO reservoir, because it might even like double. That might be exaggeration, but it will go up significantly. Yeah.
Very true. Anything else to say on heaters before we move on to the news?
Not really. John Wright and I came to the same idea at the same time, which is to reduce the heat that's going into your tank as well. Like corals will struggle if it gets too hot. They'll survive fine without light for a period of time. So if it's just for the day, you turn the lights off and they'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean LEDs shouldn't add that much, especially if they're like me and you have them quite a long way off this. Yeah, exactly, the surface. If you've got metal halides or T5s, then completely. But
or enclosed tanks.
Yeah, I was going to say if you've got a hood on it, yeah, and that's a problem, because if you've got a tank like a Fluval Evo where it's got a lid on it, and you really don't want to take the lid off and just run cooling across it, because then it will evaporate fresh water. The salt stays behind, so your salinity will go up. So you can only do the evaporative cooling with a fan if you're replacing the evaporated water with fresh water. Yeah, don't do otherwise, because it will kill everything. So
that's it.
Yeah. Jamie Miles asks, would you recommend the Red Sea dosing pumps? Currently torn between Red Sea Reef Dose 4 or the DD4 Pro. I would, absolutely. I bought Red Sea dosing pumps before they gave me one, but they gave me one with the tank, so I've been given one for free. Factor that in if you want. Doesn't make a difference to me, but I like them. But I do like the thing I like about the DD ones, I've never had them, but they're quite small. And they're a little bit cheaper than the Red Sea ones as well. And the only thing I don't like about the Red Sea ones is that they have a volume, a container monitor, right? So it tells you when you get to the end of your dosing liquid.
Yeah,
brilliant. I want that. But what it does when you get to the end, it turns your dosing head off.
Oh, that wasn't what I was thinking.
And it's like, what? No, because half the time it's just miscalculated it and it thinks I've got nothing left, but I've actually got 200 milliliters left. So I just think, oh, I'll deal with it later. But it turns it off. So if you don't see that notification telling you it's turned it off, it's not dosing anything. It's like, what? It's like worst case scenario, if it's right and it's empty, it just means that the head's running dry. I'm okay with that. I would rather that than you stop dosing altogether.
Can you turn that off?
You can turn the supplement volume, but then it doesn't tell you when your dosing liquid's running out, and that's not something that runs out every week, so you don't tend to notice. So
yeah,
everybody does it the correct way, i.e., although actually the Versa does. I don't think the Versa will give you a notification. Maybe that's changed, but it never used to, the Ecotech one, because it's Bluetooth. So, but yeah, lots of people love the DD Pro. Pro. Oh yeah, okay. So there you go. But I like that it's small, and the dosing pumps got so expensive. There's a dosing pump in the news. In fact, I'll save it for the news. Let's go on to the news. Hang on, where's the news jingle? Here it is. And I'm going to rejig the order of the news because this was going to be like number 5, but I'm going to do it as number 1 now. There's a new dosing pump, Brian.
Exciting.
It was announced Reef Appalooza.
Is it? I didn't see this actually because I watched the Reef. Oh, it's a GHL one.
GHL Doser 3.
Oh, maybe I did see it.
Lot like the previous one. It looks slightly different. I'm going to say some rude things about this.
Okay.
But I want to start by saying I had a GHL Doser before, and it's probably the best dosing pump I've ever had.
Mine are absolutely solid.
It was reliable. It was easy to service. It was quiet. You can adjust the speed so it can dose quick if you've got like lots to dose, or you can set it to dose really slowly if you've got trace elements. Brilliant. Love the hardware is amazing. The software obviously was fiddly, and I used to have connection issues quite regularly, but I didn't have any complaints with it. And so actually, as a piece of equipment, they're fantastic. And the reason I said I'm going to say rude things about it is to do with the price of dosing pumps.
Okay.
So it says it's going to retail for $500 to $550. $500.
What do the competitors cost?
Well, this is the thing, and this is where I'm going. It's not just the GHL one. Actually, I think that's probably if you're buying a GHL doser, it's probably not your first tank. You're probably in the GHL ecosystem and all this sort of stuff. So you're hardcore, I would guess, most people. So you're probably prepared to spend that money. But and what are competitors? I started looking at dosing pumps the other day when the head on my Red Sea one stopped working. I was like, oh, I'll buy a new one, which is obviously ridiculous. Just fix it. But I just had a look at a couple of others, and they're all really expensive. The most expensive is the Ecotech Versa. 4 of them, and that's a 4-head doser, the GHL one. 4 of them, £800.
It's a lot of money. It is
it's good. To be fair, it's very good. I've had a few of them, to be fair, and they are really good. And if you want in the Ecotech ecosystem, this is your only option. So fine, they're great. I'm not saying they're bad, but £800. Even the Bubble Magus dosing pumps were quite expensive, I thought.
I know what you're saying, and that it is a lot of money. But what I would say is that is one of the pieces of equipment that actually significantly changes your life once you have a tank, like properly.
Yeah, completely.
You see why? So lighting, the lighting cost varies like hugely between different lights, and they all do roughly. I know people are going to go, oh no, I don't do the same thing, but they're roughly the same.
I do.
Yeah. So like if I put a Radeon or a Kessel or the GHL ones, they're roughly the same.
Yeah, your cars are going to grow. Yeah.
Yes. Dosing pumps, I think, significantly can change your life, and also it like having a high quality one is essential, because if they go wrong, they can go really, really wrong, either by not dosing enough or by dosing too much.
I'm going to share. So this is the Charterhouse website, and so the Ecotech is at the top. The Dosetronic is £700. That's a 5-head doser.
What's the pink one?
Pink one at the bottom. Yeah, I know, it's new. I saw Aquamedic.
Oh,
and that's £200. So the cheap ones are like Aquamedic, and there was a Bubble Magus one. Oh, go away! I don't want a 5% discount. Bubble Magus one that's £173, although I don't think that has an app. And some other ones that are relatively cheap, but they just started creeping up, and I feel like reef companies have decided, hobbyists are going to pay big bucks for dosing pumps, so we're just going to make them expensive, and they do make them better. But I just feel like it's broken through the barrier. So dosing pumps, yeah, okay, you do want a reliable one, but there are lots of people with a Jecod or a Bubble Magus. I had a Bubble Magus one for years, didn't go wrong. So is it going to do the job? Is an £800 dosing pump more accurate than a £130 dosing pump? Probably, yeah. Does it have all sorts of clever features like a better app, better functionality, that stuff? Yeah, of course it does. Of course it does. The app on the Ecotech is really, really good. Whereas Bubble Magus stuff, I don't know if if it even has an app, but it's probably nowhere near as good. But if you just want set it and forget it, happy days.
Yeah,
they work. So, but that's the thing with all equipment. Expensive equipment is better in inverted commas because it does funky things like it's got like with the powerheads, the MP40s. It's got really good programmability. You can just whip off the wet side and clean it and replace it and all that sort of stuff. But a Jecod one will keep your corals just as happy. So the more money you spend, that's stuff for you that will make you happy. It won't make your corals any happier as a general rule. But
I see what you mean. What's different about this powerhead of this dosing pump?
Oh, I did make a couple of notes. Let me.
Because I've got the version 2 ones, and I'm like, these ones are like they're like workhorses. They just keep going and they're fine. What new things were required?
I think if you've got the existing one, they're so good that I don't think you're going to want to change it. They've changed the dosing heads to stepper motors with planetary gears from compression heads. Yeah. And planetary gearing will be more accurate. So I presume that means that it's better at dosing small amounts.
Yeah.
It's rated for continuous duty, which they weren't before, I think. And you had to get the GHL Maxi dose if you wanted to continue.
Yeah, you did, I think, yeah.
And that's actually that's potentially a pretty good thing, especially if you use Calquas or whatever. And there are a couple of other little bits, but those were with the GHL stuff. It can do all sorts. It's got a load of ports on the back, so you can connect it to all temperature sensors, all this sort of rubbish. So if you want like advanced stuff, then have a look at it. But the improvements for me were just like, don't care, not interested.
There you go.
But
you were about to be rude.
Oh no, it's good. I've also said that it was the best dosing pump I've
in all these years. I don't think GHL are on the list.
They are now, apparently.
I'll have them.
But before you get upset, remember that I did just say it was the best pump I've ever had.
That's true, and I said I'm well happy with mine as well. So
yeah. Although I wouldn't buy one because of the software. But if you've got a GHL system, good dosing pump. What's more exciting than a dosing pump? A new dosing pump, Ryan?
Oh God. A new fish? I like new fish.
No, sorry, I've oversold you.
You're all out of new fish.
An algae scraper.
I actually like this.
You like this? Really?
I did. I actually liked it, and I thought to myself, that is a very clever idea.
Okay.
So let me hear your version then.
Okay. So this is I think this is max spec algae scraper, and as you can see, it's got a blade sharpener. So there are a couple of things. The two features of this. Are the main features really are one that the blade is much thicker. I think it's 1.5 mil thick, they said, whereas normal blades are 0.5 mil thick or less or whatever. So it'll last longer, stay sharper longer. But also it's got that little thing on the back that you just rub it and sharpen the blade.
It's a whetstone, isn't it?
Whetstone. Sorry, yeah.
It's so when you actually look closely at the blades of your algae scrapers, if you run your finger along them, so you know when you're like getting off like hard coralline algae and stuff like that. Yeah. Like you can actually feel like indents and bumps where it's like damage to the metal. I think that actually eventually starts to scratch your glass.
Yeah, okay.
And I just thought, if you've got a way to get that off with a whetstone, that's genius. And I thought, why has no one thought of this before? The only problem is, I don't know if I like the rest of the algae scraper. So algae scrapers, the one I have is the Tunzi one. You know, like I have the Tunzi long one because it's thin and it's designed to not
strong magnet.
Yeah, and it's designed to not get things trapped underneath it. It's quite. Whereas I don't know if that's the same sort of one.
There was one on the glass down there a second ago. That looks like it sticks off the glass a little bit as well. I can't quite tell. I think
if it's the same, it looks like one of those flipper magnets.
I've got a flipper on the cage, yeah.
But if it's the same sort of thing, like then I actually would probably get one if I'm honest.
Okay.
Having the ability to sharpen it before every use would be, or not every use, but every like week or whatever.
Yeah.
I think is well worth it.
Fair enough. How thick glass can it work with? I don't know. They didn't say. But probably. Oh no, I think they did say actually quite thick. It was quite thick. I think it was more than half an inch. I think it was up to an inch. You can get different size ones, but I like the Tunzi one. That's really really good. And although for the Cade, because of the Tunzi doesn't work on the thickness of glass the Cade is, so the flipper is what I use. I don't like it as much, but it's not far off as good. So yeah, there you go. Ryan was excited about the algae.
It's funny because some of these products you wouldn't expect that I'd be interested in them, and I bet you didn't think I'd be excited about that.
Not in the slightest. The other thing that I was surprised at is that Ryan texted me this week.
Oh yeah,
and he literally texted me to talk about a skimmer, and he said, "Have you seen this new skimmer?" I was like, "Yeah." Well, who's taken your phone? Like, who is this?
Yeah, that's true.
So
normally it gets a message saying, "Stop trying to talk to me about a skimmer."
Exactly. I don't care, Alex. And the skimmer in question there's two new skimmers. Okay. This is the one from Aquaforest. So this is, and the photos are a funny angle because I think they're screenshots from the video. But this is, they call it a filtration system.
Yeah.
Because there's a few clever things in with this skimmer. First off, the pump is made in Europe, they mentioned. Great. But it's got two air jaws, which is cool. At the bottom, just above the pump, is it's got media. I think that the way they described it, it was like what's the KZ stuff? I can't remember what it's called. Zeovit. It was like that, in that it's got bacteria in it. But I didn't really see the point of it. Why do you want? Yeah,
it was something to do with the bacteria there. It can automatically be skimmed out, but I'm not quite sure.
Yeah.
Why? Now, if it's the bacteria which reduces nitrate, that actually makes sense. You know, when you're doing carbon dosing, that is a bacteria that you're taking out.
Yeah, I think that's kind of the idea, is that the bacteria eat nitrates and then they get taken out, so you export them. I think that's the idea, but I'm not really bothered about that. But anyway, there you go. I think they'll probably need to explain it more, which they will do in the coming weeks. But anyway, so that's the first thing it does. And the second thing it does, and this is the cool bit, is actually, no, do you know what? There's two bits. It's got activated carbon in the top. And I was thinking, oh, that must be for ozone. But it's not. He was talking about, this was the Seva, I can't remember his surname now, Yankovic maybe. So the guy from Aquaforest was talking about the tanks they've got set up in Poland, and they suddenly find they have metals in their tanks at certain times of the year. And they found that, and I think it's because people burn all sorts of random stuff. So it just draws it in from the air, because skimmers draw air in from your room, don't they? Yeah. And so he found that that putting activated carbon in the top, so the air gets drawn through that, helps with that. So that's why they put that there. The downside is, he said that you'd have to change that every week. Your average hobbyist, you're not going to change the carbon in your skimmer every week. So, but I mean, if you can be asked, great. And it looks easy. You just knock the lid off. But I think, and actually, where would you put the lid? Because it's stuck to those two hoses. Maybe you take
they all come off together. I thought take the lid off it. Like literally, they just all.
But then you've got the things going boring, boring. I don't know. I'm not that bothered about. Yes, my beer's all right. Cheers. So I'm not that bothered about that. But the other thing that I did like was these two little alien tubes on the side.
Yeah.
They have CO2 scrubbing media, soda ash.
Yeah.
So they are. Ryan doesn't care, and I think it's so basically that is a recirculating CO2 scrubber built into a skimmer. I have no interest in doing that. I just don't like it. I've tried CO2 scrubbers. I don't like them, but I like that someone has finally, because the only way you can do that properly with the skimmer to have it recirculating is DIY it. So I like that someone has now made it so it's built in and you can buy the skimmer like that. You didn't look impressed, Ryan.
Look, I actually like Aquaforest. I like that they are trying. They always bring in like new products out and things like that. So like that's great.
I'm about to put them on the list though, aren't
I? Yeah, I'm about to offend them. Look, you know me. I like things to be as easy as possible with as minimum maintenance as possible. If you have to change the carbon every week, it's not for me. And if you have to, and CO2 media, I think lasts even less.
With a recirculating. No, I found, so I used to do it just on its own.
Yeah.
And it was like, I can't remember how quickly it went through, but it went through more quickly than I could be bothered to replace it. With a recirculating setup.
Yeah.
So it draws the air constantly through. It lasts longer. I don't know how much longer, and even if it's a month or whatever, I've got no idea. That's another maintenance job that I can't be bothered with personally. But
that's what I mean. That's some people will be like that. Some people will love it. They'll be like, oh look, I've got this one thing that can do this, and my tank can be absolutely perfect. You can't even get me to clean my skimmer cup half the time. Mine's set up to automatically be drained, isn't it? So it's like anything that requires extra maintenance is just not for me because I just won't do it. So it's not a problem with the product, and I love the fact that they've brought something new. That's like what I did think. That's the furthest innovation that we've had in this hobby for a long time.
It is. So I think that's niche because most people just want a normal skimmer.
Yeah.
And it doesn't appeal to me, but I agree. I think it's a good idea. I think there'll be some people who are like, that's what I've been waiting for.
Yeah.
No word on price. It looks
that's
like
what I'd be interested in. Because if you've got a choice of having something which is the same price but with extra features, some people will like it.
Yeah. There's one other feature that I forgot to mention. I think it was this one, not the NIOS one, but it's got a tube that runs up the side, just a separate tube that runs up the side that fills with water, and that tells you the water level inside the skimmer. Because normally when you look in the skimmer, it's just bubbles, so you can't see where the water level is. Deltec do that. The 600i, the 400i, all those, that's got the same thing. It's brilliant because it makes setting the water level so easy. So if that's on that one, and it's not the NIOS, which I think it is, then I love that. That's really good. That's genuinely useful.
I'd like your opinion on something. The design of it, the cone. Yeah. Why are you laughing?
Because I think you're about to be rude about the design.
No, I know. I'm not sure what you're suggesting, but there's something feels unnatural to me about having a skimmer which isn't like a cone shape.
Wine bottle shaped, yeah. Okay.
Yes, because like the most of them are, whereas that's just one cylindrical tube, isn't it? Yeah. So is there a reason that most of them are like that? Or are they better? Or I don't know.
I'm pretty sure. So my Deltec skimmer that I had before, and I've had 3 of them now, that is the same shape, just a straight up shape.
Yeah,
that was, and I love the build quality is crap.
Okay.
but as a skimmer, it's brilliant. It's so the build quality doesn't matter. It's so good, and it worked really, really well. And I think my current skimmer, which is a Bubble King, a Royal exclusive, so a really posh one, I think that's the same shape as well. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure it is. And they know how to make a skimmer, and that works really, really well. So I'm sure there are pros and cons and there are reasons, but yeah, you're used to seeing wine bottle shaped skimmers.
I know, yeah. And you buy what you know, if you see what I mean, because you think if everyone does it, that must be the best.
Yeah. I just think it looks a bit like a science project, so it just looks a bit messy in your sump, which doesn't matter. But anyway, right. So that is we've agreed that that's innovative, and it's nice to see something that's a company taking on innovation.
I know where you're going with this. I can already tell the next one.
NIOS have taken a different approach to innovation.
Oh, that wasn't what I was thinking.
Okay. And so Aquaforest have built in bacteria that will help reduce your nitrates. They've built in a recirculating CO2 scrubber. They've put activated carbon in the top that might remove metals from your tank. They've got a twin inlet for the pump. Really clever stuff. NIOS have put a green LED in their skimmer.
Okay, is that all? It tells you the water level, doesn't it? The green LED.
No, it turns your skimmate from brown to green. It makes it.
Okay, yes.
That's what it's for. No, there are some reasons for it. So that tells you the intensity of the pump. So I think if it's green is low, red is high, and orange is medium, or something like that. So, and it's got
that the wrong way around.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, it tells you the intensity of the pump, but there are a couple of things about it. It's not just doesn't just make your fish poo look green. It's first off, the most important thing, it connects to Mobius now.
Yeah,
which is the Ecotech, and that's really good because Ecotech don't have a skimmer.
Yeah,
and so now if you want everything on the same ecosystem, you can't, because you can't get a skimmer. Now you can do with that box, and you can get that box and the pump for your existing NIOS. So Ryan, if you wanted to upgrade, you could go and buy the box and the pump and put it on your existing NIOS skimmer. And
I wonder how much that is.
I think they're quite expensive, but it didn't have price. Oh, actually, I've got no idea. It doesn't have pricing.
I would 100%. This sounds terrible, but I would 100% have that one over the Aquaforest one. I don't know what I've had them for years and years and years, and they never break. Like mine, it's like a workhorse. I don't clean it or anything. So, and it just works. It will break tonight. So I like 100%. That would be the one. I would go for an old one or a new one.
So the thing with the new one, so yours, I'm pretty sure yours is an AC pump, which is part of the reason, because it's not adjustable. You can't increase or decrease the intensity, can you? And that's part of the reason it's so reliable, because AC pumps are much more reliable than DC pumps. This is a DC pump because it's controllable. So you will be losing some of the reliability, but there are advantages of it. The reason I said I think it's quite expensive is because I saw this comment on Facebook, and who knows how accurate this is, but he says that thing looks sweet, but the price, I'm sure, is $700 to $1,500. I've got no idea.
I mean, that's a pretty wide. I suppose they have small, medium, large skimmers, don't they? I was going to say that's a pretty wide range if it's either 700 or 1500.
But yes, I mean, that is expensive. But anyway, the headline there is it now fits into your ecosystem with Ecotech. So if you've got Ecotech power heads, lights, and a return pump, you could press feed mode when you're doing a water change. It will turn your return pump off, which then increases your water level in your sump, and then you need your skimmer to go off as well, which now this does. So a bit of convenience. I actually really like that. But and there were a couple other things. Apparently it can sense when it's blocked. So if it's got a snail in it, it'll back off the return pump, so the snail will then escape, and then it'll try to turn itself back on. And if that doesn't work, it'll back off. I didn't really understand how it works, but it does that. But it's got a blockage sensor somehow. And the only thing with it, that light, it'll tell you, because then the point of that light is that if it's sensed a blockage and it's turned the pump down, then you need to know. And you open your sump door and you can see that there's a light there. Yeah. But any light will make algae grow, basically. I saw in one of the videos, I saw someone say, it's a green light, so green won't grow algae. It will. So there's a green LED in my KH keeper. Yeah. It changes colors, but it's green means everything's okay. And I turn that off because if you leave it on, algae grows in the sample beaker. So it will grow algae. Maybe it won't grow as much, but maybe that won't be a problem. I just don't. What's the point of having a light in a skimmer? That's if the pump is doing something and telling you there's a blockage, send me a notification on my app, because I'll get that. I've always got my phone on me. I'm not always looking in the cabinet for the skimmer. So
skimmer's one of those things as well that if there's a problem with it.
Yeah, because
if there's something like, you'll either know there's a slightly different noise, you get to know the feel of your tank. So if there's a slightly different noise, you're like, right, something's wrong with the skimmer. If it's blocked, water will be going into it, but there'll be no foam. So it is. I know what you mean. Some of it's great. I don't know the benefits of the LED, but as I said, 100%, I would still buy that one over the other one.
Yeah, to me, the LED is completely pointless, and actually, all it does is it just makes a glow in your sump, which I just don't want. So that is completely pointless to me. I would rather not have that. But I like that it's got that little box. I like that you can upgrade your existing return pump. That's good. So they're not forcing you to buy a new skimmer, which is great.
Yeah.
And that's it.
There you go.
So there you go. So I do like that, to be fair, but I have a Royal exclusive, and they are the kings. So I wouldn't buy it, but I do like it. And I don't like Nile skimmers generally anyway. I just
why? I absolutely love their skimmers. I would it would be Royal exclusive could offer me a skimmer, I probably still wouldn't take it.
Yeah,
I like them.
I've had a few of them, and at least 2, maybe 3, and I found that they get a little bit buzzy over time because they're an AC pump. Well, at first they're silent, which is really impressive, but they get a bit buzzy over time. And it might not be because of the skimmer, but the only skimmer I've ever had problems with it overflowing and going crazy for no reason is the Nios. And the Deltec, you don't get it. See, this is the Deltec. As soon as I switched to the Deltec, it was like a dream. Same for my Royal exclusive. So I don't know what it was, but just I always had issues with that. And if I cleaned it, you should never clean a skimmer ever, because they just go crazy. I had issues with the Nios, so I don't like them. But they're one of the most popular ones in the hobby, and Nios are a really good company. They make there's good build quality.
Yeah. I've had 4 of them
generally. Yeah, okay.
I've never cleaned them. They're still running to. One of them's not running at the moment because it's not in a tank, but that's the only reason it's not running because I've only got 3 systems. But I've had 4 of them, and 3 of them have been running for at least 5 years, never cleaned. Like they're all like automatically the skimmate gets taken out and everything, doesn't it? So like it's as far as I'm concerned, I can't ask for anything else. But maybe with regards to noise, you said obviously the coral farm has more noise than a living room, so maybe that's what I just don't notice it.
That's the thing. Yeah. I'm sensitive to noise, so and I always wonder about whenever I talk about noise in a piece of equipment. I often ask you about noisy equipment and you don't notice noises that I do. So sometimes if I make a video, I often say, look, we all hear things differently. So just because I think it's noisy doesn't mean you will. But I can't tell you how you will perceive it.
You're just a bit precious compared to other people.
Very precious. And I'm being challenged by James Cremonini, who says, are you sure it's DC? I'm not sure it's DC. He says Yorkshire Reefers video includes a piece on this, and Niall said it's still AC. All right, if it's AC, I don't know how they've got that to work, but okay. In which case, I take it all back. It doesn't say on the Reef Keeping News page, so I'm presuming that it probably would say if it was DC. How do they dial it down though if it's not DC? Okay, I would be surprised if it's AC, but there are no facts here, Ryan. So I don't know is the answer.
Reef Keeping News has started to has more stuff on it these days than Reef Builders.
It's brilliant. It's because Jeremy Gay was the one who drove the news side, and Salem Clemens is doing it for Reef Builders, but he's doing a lot of other stuff as well.
Yeah.
And so I think so the fact that Jeremy was who was doing the news there, he moved across. That's why I still use Reef Builders. They've still got loads of news here.
Yeah.
But Reef Keeping News is brilliant. If you want news in our hobby, use Reef Keeping News.
If you want news on brown gobies.
No, unfortunately, there's none. James follows up and says, me neither. They mentioned it. They kept because of reliability. Okay, interesting. But this is the problem with all of the stuff that when it comes out from Reeferpalooza, you get little videos when it's like a YouTuber asking questions and this sort of thing, but you don't get a proper write-up. So there's details like this that don't get drawn up. Whereas when you've got apart from when we're away from things like Reeferpalooza, it's just normal day-to-day news. A Reef Builders article or a Reef Keeping News article, they've got detailed write-ups to tell you everything. But you just don't get that when it's all, because there's no, like, the manufacturers don't have a page on it on their website, so I can't go and check. So it's all a bit like, oh, I think this is right, and I don't have prices or release dates. Anyway, I got one last piece of news. Oh no, I've got a few more pieces of news. Oh, actually, do you know what? Before I come on to those last two, there was a load of stuff. There are a couple of other bits from Reeferpalooza. There was a reef camera that you stick to the outside of your tank for a holiday or whatever. You did the same. You did the same face that I did when I heard about that. Are you not that bothered?
It wasn't actually the camera. It was a holder for the camera, wasn't it?
I think it includes a camera, but you might be right.
I thought it was just the holder. Right. As I said, I watched it the other day at like 11 o'clock at night. I wasn't paying particular attention.
Yeah.
So I thought it was a holder for the camera, but maybe I'm wrong. But either way, like, would it be useful if you're going away for weeks? Yeah, I would say it gives you like reassurance that everything's fine. The fact that they said soon there's going to be a filter, an orange filter, kind of feel like that was a missed opportunity, because
day one. Yeah.
Like, you want that day one, because otherwise you just got a really blue tank.
Yeah, and it's probably not going to be the best camera in the world. But really, if I go away, the only place I want it's useful to have a camera on the tank for sure, but it's really useful to have a camera on the return section of your sump.
Yeah,
because that's where the water level will tell you if there's a real problem.
Yeah.
Because if your sump is turned off, there's probably a real problem. So you probably want both, to be fair, but in an ideal world. Diego Romero says, do you still use the Reflow Auto Water Changer? No, I don't. I tried to switch to, I got rid of it because I wanted to switch to something that I didn't have to wheel between rooms. So I tried the 2 Ecotech Versas, but I just couldn't get them to work. From drawing water from, I don't know, 7 meters of tubing, it wasn't accurate. I just couldn't get it to be accurate at high speed. So I don't, although actually, funnily enough, Diego, I was on the website today, the Refloat website today, looking for the Refloat auto water changer, thinking, should I go back to it? I don't think I've got space for the one I'd need. But anyway, Philip Young says, I don't understand the desire to make everything so complicated now. Pumps, skim, don't need to be Wi-Fi, LED bulbs, etc. Yeah, there absolutely should be a line of products that are just simple. Just a light that you turn on, and you've got 3 modes: soft corals, LPS, SPS. That's it. You don't have it's 12 hours. They pick the just anyway. But yeah, because there's people like that, and we don't have to make stuff complicated these days. But it's because people go, "Ooh, complicated! It's new, exciting. Ooh, what new features can I get?"
I want as simple as possible. Is what I want.
Yeah. I think a lot of people, more people than you might think, want simplicity and don't want all these advancements are great, and we complain when the companies don't make advancements.
Yeah.
But I would like more simplicity. It's part of the reason Jetcod is so good, because it's just easy. They work. You've got a control box on and off, turn it up and down. That's it. Bob's your uncle.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree with you. The last penultimate piece of news is the piece of equipment that I said earlier with my retention bait that I don't know what it is. It's an Aquamedic UV clarifier for a reverse osmosis filter.
I don't know what that is.
Why would you want to UV? So it plugs in line with your RO filter, and it UV sterilizes the water.
Okay.
Now it talked about the article talked about commercial purposes, why you might want to use that, but I couldn't work out why you would want to UV sterilize or clarify your RODI water.
This is my theory with anything like this. Yeah, if for 18 years I have not needed to UV clarify my water, I don't need to do it now. That's my theory. That's all I have to. If you actually, when you watch back, I know you listen to sometimes again. When you watch back, look at the confused look on my face when you showed it up on the screen. I'm like, why?
It's for the drain tube, just for drinking. But that's the thing. That's for commercial purposes. That makes sense. But I don't know. If they're going to sell it
in the article, what purpose there is.
It said something about. It didn't say for the hobby. But I guess they just made it. And you can use it on an RODI filter, so they might as well. You can buy it if you want to. So, yeah, I don't think anyone's going to be buying it for tanks.
Yeah, I'm surprised you didn't pick up the frozen food feeder. Yeah,
we talked about that before. There were a couple of things that I didn't pick up on. The AI.
No, we spoke about it on WhatsApp. We didn't talk about it on here. Yeah, we didn't talk about it on here. No.
Okay, so there was an algae scrubber that we talked about before, so that didn't get mentioned today.
Yeah.
I thought we talked about this frozen food feeder before. Okay, do you remember what it's called?
Oh, I don't. It's not even. I think they were like crowdfunding. I'd be interested to see how it's doing, because it's massive.
It's enormous. That I can't. So I saw it, but I was convinced we talked about it on the news. But anyway. Let me see if I can find. I can't find it. It sits on the edge of your sump.
Yeah,
and the capacity is your glass. Yeah, your tank. The capacity is huge. It was like 200 cubes of frozen, or it might have even been 1,000. I can't. It was a lot.
Yeah,
but it's like a foot across. It's enormous.
Basically, if you want to have a mini fridge on the rim of your tank, then I'm not even sure how it holds on. To be honest, but
I don't know. I'm sure they found that, but
I like the idea. I like the concept of what they're trying to do. Yeah. I hate the execution of it.
It's big.
There is only one way that people are going to have success with an auto feeder which does frozen food. The food needs to go into a tube and then pumped into a tank. You can't have it like the aesthetics of a tank and having a mini fridge on it is not good. It's not a good look. This is my theory.
I found it. Tej in the chat has said it's Manta Systems. This is it. So it's not the best looking piece of equipment in the world, which doesn't matter for the most of the time. But if it's going to sit on the edge of your tank, and that picture doesn't show how big it is. Sorry, it's enormous. The only thing I could think that you would want to do, and I don't know if this would work with the mounting bracket, but if you had it in your sump, well, actually, first off, if you had a pelmet, so this is all covered, like Parker's Reef's tank, for example, then you'd never see it, so it's fine, no problem. But for most people who don't have a pelmet covering the top of the tank, if you put it in the return pump section of your sump, then it would dispense food into your return pump that then goes out into your tank. So that could work.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
As in some, not all of that. I'm trying to find the picture that I sent you where it's on the tank, but I can't find it. But it was huge, basically.
Yeah, it's big.
So,
and if you put it into your return pump section, would it just settle out at the bottom?
That's what I mean. Some of it will go in, but some of it won't go in, and then that's just going to like decay. And the whole point of having a filter roller and stuff like that is so you don't get food in your sump.
Yeah. So I think it is designed to sit on the top of your tank though. But yeah, it's a great idea, and for some people it'll be perfect with a pelmet or whatever. But it's one of those things that every now and then, it's like the holy grail. People really want one that works, like an automatic algae scraper. People love, but no one can actually quite work out how to do it properly.
Yeah.
Or well, not properly, but without any of the drawbacks. Because a fridge normally makes a bit of noise. They're quite big. How do you stop the lines gooping up, all this sort of stuff? There's all sorts of, it must be, I would never have a crack at making one myself. So fair play for them to try to come up with it. But yeah, don't know. Not for me. 10 to 15, make it smaller, 10 to 15 cubes max. Yeah.
I think they're crowdfunding it. I don't know if it said in that article, but I'm sure I heard on one of the videos. I'll just be interested to see how many people. Look, we might be total idiots, and all of a sudden they've got £1 million in crowdfunding.
It's highly likely.
So, highly likely we're total idiots.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I just thought, not quite right. Nice try, but hey, what do I know? There you go. The point of this is not whether we would buy on stuff or not. It's, hey guys, this exists. Now you know.
Yeah.
Last two pieces of news. This is Aqua H news. Aqua. So I went to Aquatic Emporium today, which is a local fish shop to the west of London, east of me.
Yeah.
And I talked to Stefan, and he said they are working out whether they're going to go. I think basically reading between the lines, they're going. They're just trying to sort out the logistics. So
there's a few people that like that.
Yeah. Exactly, working out. But Aquatic Emporium is a brilliant shop. So if you've never been to the south before, to that shop, they will have a load of livestock that you don't see everywhere. So that's really good news. I hope that they do confirm soon.
How do I put this in a way that's shops are wondering if it's worth doing. I spoke to a big shop this weekend about who are considering it themselves. I'm not going to say who it is in case I don't go or whatever. And they asked me if it was worth doing. And I told them, and look, I don't know how to put this in the appropriate way. I made a fortune that day. So the reason I'm saying is I don't want to come across the wrong way.
I know what you mean.
I want the shops to go, this is definitely worth doing to get as many people there as possible. So it was one of the best things I ever did. Yeah. So I hope that hasn't come across like in the wrong way, because that wasn't my intention.
You did very well is perhaps a better way.
But what I want people to know, I want the shops to going, is this worth doing? It was absolutely worth doing.
Yeah.
So
and from not just that, it was a brilliant day as well.
Yeah. And it was great advertising, and you get other customers that didn't know you existed and things like that. It was great. The reason I wanted to say it like in that way was because there is a tremendous amount of effort involved. It is like huge.
Yeah.
It's like, I don't think anyone that attended that day would really understand what goes, like the planning, the setting up, the fear that everything's going to die is a big deal, but it was worthwhile. So if there are any shops that are listening or on the fence, like if I were you, I would be doing it.
Go.
Yeah. And I shouldn't be encouraging other people because it's just competition for me if you think about it.
Taking money out of your pocket.
This is less about what was from this. I want it to be a yearly thing. I want it to be every single year from now on. And the only way it's going to be every single year from now on is if it gets better and better and more people support it. So yeah, you can see I'm quite passionate about it.
Yeah, completely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there you go. Do it. The more the better. And it's going to be twice as big as last year, which is great. The other update from Aqua H is about the people who are attending. So last year they had freshwater, a little bit of freshwater, but not much. Saltwater, obviously, massively saltwater, and some reptiles. I think there was a lady with a load of snakes, and then there are a couple of other reptile places. This year they've said that they've now announced that they're not going to have reptiles there this year, so it's just aquatics.
Have they announced that? Because there are some reptile people going already.
No, they announced it on their Facebook page today. Yeah.
Oh, did they?
Let me just go back onto it. It said
I spoke to them. They said they were not. The problem was the people that turned up for reptiles last year were disappointed. Right. So they don't want to sell it as a reptile show. Now I haven't seen this update, so maybe it's completely different now.
It is, yeah. So this is literally 2 hours ago. Due to very limited engagement from reptile exhibitors, Aqua Age will now be 100% aquatics focused.
Oh, there you go then.
So there you go. So I guess, and maybe the reptiles people were like, oh, I don't know, it wasn't that great last year for us. So because it was mostly aquatics. As far as I'm concerned, fine. It would be cool. It was like a nice side benefit if I'm going thinking, hey, great, I might get to see some dart frogs.
yeah, that's
But,
true.
You know, I wouldn't. I'm not too fussed. But yeah, there we go. And the stress of watching Ryan was enough for Licia.
Yeah, I know. Licia got. She was there on the very first day. It was funny because Licia was coming to help on the second day, and she sent me a message at like 4 o'clock saying we've arrived at the hotel early. Like, do you need any help? And I was like, absolutely, yes. Bring everyone you know. So, yeah.
There you go. Do you have anything else to say on the point of Aqua?
No.
Oh, no, buy your tickets.
Same as usual. Go buy your tickets. Like, it's happening again. I'm making it better than I did last year. So more people, the better.
Very good. And what I've just remembered is I am going to go to Love to Reef.
Oh yeah, you got your ticket, didn't you?
I did. So actually, so my missus. So it's my birthday, my wedding anniversary weekend. Yeah. That week, basically. So the wedding anniversary is on the Wednesday, and so this thing is on the following weekend. And what I thought that me and my wife were going to do is celebrate our anniversary on that weekend, but turns out that's not the plan. And Lara found out by listening to the live stream.
This is the first time you've ever mentioned her name.
Mrs. Reef Dork.
You always call her Mrs. Reef Dork.
Mrs. Reef Dork listened to the live stream on a podcast and was like, you do realize that we're actually, because she wanted to do something on the actual day. And I was like, it's a Wednesday. And I'm at the TMC thing on that day. I was like, but now we're going to do something the weekend. I know. We're going to do something the weekend before. So I'm free on the weekend.
That's nice. She listened to the live stream and she went, you know what? I know that he wants to go do this. So for his anniversary, I will tell him he can do it.
Yeah. And on that point, Jamie, if you're listening, I'm going to message you and ask if I can come with you.
There you go. See, look, we put pressure on people on the live stream.
Exactly. And Les says, are you riding there? No, I was thinking about it, but I don't. I get quite sensitive about. Ryan knows this about where I park my bike and how I lock it up and all that sort of stuff. And I wouldn't feel comfortable leaving it in that car park. Full stop. I don't feel comfortable leaving it anywhere. So,
Les, you've been to my house, so you know exactly where I live. When Alex comes here, he puts his bike hidden on the driveway rather than
behind your car,
and behind my car. So he's very, very precious.
Yeah, which it's anyway, whatever. So no, I'm not going to ride there, which would have been cool, but with a bit of luck, I'm going to go with Per Sturgeworth. So
it'll be a tight squeeze because I've already bagged the front seat. I get car sick, you see. So, and you got long old legs.
Yeah, I know. I'm all right with that. Jamie's got short legs. I'll sit behind him. It's fine.
There you go.
Insulting him is probably a good way of getting in on his good books. So
yeah, he'd be like, "Oh, I've got short legs, I'm sorry, you can't come."
Yeah. And Tej makes a very good point, and he's changed his name to Tej. Thanks, appreciate that. On the point of putting pressure on people here, where are some of the YouTube videos from you, Ryan? You promised us, everybody in the chat.
I'm enjoying my sabbatical. Is that what you have? Is that what they're called?
No, it's not a sabbatical. You made a promise, Ryan, and you've let everybody down.
Yeah, I know.
Next week, please.
We'll see. Will
you make one next week?
No, don't make me promise. Do you know when I will be making one? I got two. See, I already know. I've got 2 coming up. I've got the TMC one coming up, and I'll probably make a Love to Reef one as well. So because if we're all going in the car together, like that probably will be a fun one.
I forgot about the TMC. I've been planning my videos for the next few weeks, and I hadn't factored in making a TMC one. That's going to interrupt my program. That's okay.
Just move it back a week later.
I will, but just
just release it. Just release it once you've finished. It's like
the TMC one. I'd rather get out at the time. Okay, it doesn't matter anyway. Right, just real quick. I'm your guy, bro. Who are you talking to? Why are you someone's guy? We can be buddies. Okay, there you go, Ryan. You got a friend.
The only thing I did want to say before, because you always say, is there a thing I want to say? Remember, if you do graphic design, send me a message. I have had a message already, but I haven't actually said to the person what I'm looking to get done yet. And if that person can't do it, I'd like to have a range of people.
He doesn't think you're good enough, personally.
I don't know. I don't know who can do what, if you see what I mean. But I just if he can do it, then by all means, great. But I don't want people to think, oh, someone's already offered it, so I won't offer. So
he doesn't like you. You're not good enough.
That's not true.
Fine. Message received. All right. Well, thank you very much for joining, guys. Bye.
Bye.